But if you don't consider for these issues one by one, if you in future you will get risk or you're going to lose advantage, lose profit. So you must consider beforehand. Japanese is they are very weak for pre-preparation. Any cases, pre-preparation, and they don't consider in deep, protect how to protect themselves, their company.
And the reason for that is actually that, like this kind of negotiation could lead to conflict, right?
Oh no, big reason is Japanese companies, every company very conservative. They try to avoid, just kind of new issues, new matter, everything else. They don't like to make a negotiation, make contract with the customer. Very conservative, everything they to buy, they to sell. So they try to avoid risk beforehand. That's one reason Japanese economy is stable compared with European. European people, American people, okay, this is very good idea, very good product, and they were going to consider for buy, but Japanese they will not.
Right. Right. So I had this morning. One of my tennis friends is a Tokyo University professor in economics. He just wrote a book, and it was about this conservative behavior and
everybody is conservative. Japanese itself is very conservative. That's one big struggle for my school is the same. Okay, we need to consider for 100 years of asset or mental asset, morale, spiritual issues for the mental attitude. We need to return back to the 100 years ago. But everybody against no, I don't need. We need to study, consider for the more close time period, not long range. We need to focus on short time period to get how to get profit. Instead of you focus on mental attitude. No, we don't have time to study. So they're very conservative, right? And also they compare to their competitors or their colleagues and follow on what they're doing.
So how are we going to take away that conservatism? But what is your? So why are we so?
Oh, okay. This is that's why I'm talking about. This is if you're so much conservative, you will lose your profit, or you're going to get the risk.
Well, so basically what we see is in Japan that he told me that actually the corporate Japan has not seen an increase in profit there, but they have been operating.
Exactly. American, that's right. American company got profit 10%, 15%. But how come Japanese 4%, 5%? This is the reason why they're conservative. Right?
Actually, so corporate Japan has not been making any profit.
So I think each time we're going to talking about this kind of negotiation, whatever, we must be try to give message for Japanese people. If you don't consider relationship with customer, you will lose this kind of profit. Right? So you need to talk about that, even if you are not interested in. Because if you're going to interest in this area, you can get this profit. Avoid risk.
It is just like it is just as important as being able to speak English.
Yeah. That's right. This is just important. Like also this morning, Honoda came here to discuss about the technical standard. He said
ISO.
No. He said ontology. Ontology is a keyword standard at global level. Keyword, special industry vocabulary. Japanese company, they don't try to make investment for translation, for industry word. So Chinese making it, European people making it, but Japanese try to make investment for the next 5-10 years. They just more closer aspect. They try to do lots of technological innovation, but they never consider for the future focused investment. This is ontology is one of the how to prepare that kind of industrial world, how to set up common use among global the rest of the world.
Right.
So the Japanese people
create their own standard.
They don't do that. So we discuss that. This kind of sort of thing. Right? So we keep them caution.
Right.
We're going to consider. And my school is try to ask for Japanese company, try to consider for Japanese mind, mind pillar, spiritual pillar, with not only the accounting, not only marketing and management, but also you need to have Japanese identity. This is very important. So those things we try to explain for them. Without pillar, what's happened? Oh, it's obvious. You know growth in the past couple decades, right? So you need to focus. So sort of things. This one, negotiation skill the same.
Right. No growth.
Uh-huh.
No growth, and we also, well, I mean, no growth is also not only because we don't take risks, but also we don't consume, right?
Because in Europe, a lot of people, race and nationalities, so every time you need to discuss among those people. Otherwise, you can get fair trade.
But also, we are a very low context culture, which means that we need to make everything explicit, otherwise we don't understand it. So we cannot read the air at all. Therefore, we need to make. Therefore, we are insisting on actually putting everything in writing, putting everything out there.
Japanese is everything is very stable, and they don't consider for new product. Oh, actually, of course they say, against my opinion, they said okay, new product, but among Japanese people, right? So if you're going to, this one is a multicultural session we're talking about. If you're going to consider for multicultural, you need to consider for negotiation skill at the global level. Global level means you're going to accept, different opinion, different concept, different perspective.
Right.
Otherwise, you can break through. You are conservative mind. This conservative, American Japanese people say, "No, Clyde, I'm not conservative. I'm very open-minded." Okay, this is among Japanese people. But if you, as soon as European people get involved in this society or team or group, they immediately recognize, oh, you're conservative, right? But among Japanese, they never believe we are conservative.
Right.
But my observation for Japanese people, very, very conservative people.
Yeah.
But from Dutch people or Japanese are conservative, but Japanese people, they don't think they are not conservative. So this is how we're going to these issues. Okay.
So they don't. But actually, so they don't feel that they're conservative. I really agree with you, but because I feel that they're very conservative.
That's the reason I wrote 15 books, for globally, country by country, compared with Tanzania, Japan. What difference among those? Negotiation skill and Japanese negotiation is compared to each other. Oh, Japanese, they don't consider anything at all because they are conservative countries, so they don't need to consider for negotiation skill. Only just they need to know quality, price, partner. That's it. Okay. No problem at all. Just if you're going to betray the customer, betray me, cut it out and just rumor spread all over Japan. You can do business here. Sort of things is very stable, right? But outside Japan, this is many things happen, right? But they don't do that. They don't dealing with overseas people. Okay, export exists, but this is obvious product they can sell. Okay, they're going to sell product. I'm supporting for medical pharmaceutical company to try to sell their product global level, but usually Japanese companies they will not do that. Even if they can do that, but they do not do that. They don't have network. They do, but they can, but they cannot.
So they don't have a network because they cannot connect.
Yes, island insurance.
But they can get off the island. But can they make meaningful relationships?
Yeah. That's right. So I try to do that, but with overseas people, I don't want to handle Japanese medicine. I don't want. We don't believe them. If once they're going to have problem, the company will losing their status in that country, right?
Right.
So if they're willing to handle German medicine, or famous company medicine, but they don't want to handle Japanese medicine. So this is one example, but spread all over the world. So how we're going to give the Japanese people change their conservative mindset? This is one. Okay,
Right.
so you are talking about aspect from European aspect,
Right.
but for Japanese people, they never understand why I need to prepare negotiation skill. What you said, right? We don't need to, because they're just only dealing business among Japanese people. But if you try to go outside, okay, doing something overseas, but you need to consider for those issues.
Right.
But they do not understand. So if you try to persuade those people, okay, I need to study negotiation skill, and okay, we're going to have kind of risks. You're losing opportunity. You are going to lose money. So those things we need to teach them. Otherwise, they will not follow you.
So Takai-san, you are actually in an environment surrounded by people, Japanese people, who are actually going out of Japan, and how do you see them operate? How do they broker their deals? Do they make them directly, or do they go via JICA, or do they have foreign negotiators that are involved? How do they broker? How do they actually make those deals?
They, the Japanese, right?
Your Japanese colleagues in Vietnam.
But the question is, must be careful. But he himself, Japanese, okay,
Right.
and he tried to doing like a European style, not Japanese style.
Right.
He himself, right?
But how are his colleagues, the people around him, making deals?
Wait a minute. Nobody around him.
Yeah, you have people in the same situation as you are, right? Who are in Vietnam, trying to develop their business.
No, he has his boss, but no colleague.
No, I know. No, I'm talking about other companies, not
Other company?
Other companies, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So do you know how they actually broker their deals?
So which sector do you have in mind to
Well,
discuss?
actually, not. I'm not really. It doesn't really matter to me which sector it is. I'm more interested. Okay, so if they are representing a Japanese company, how do they make their agreements? How do they negotiate their deals? How do they actually establish their connections?
Yeah, to some extent that I can see, then what Japanese are doing, they've broken the deal. Is like with Japanese, by Japanese, supported by Japanese.
Oh. So they make a deal with only exclusive Japanese partners.
Yeah, in some case the counterpart is, of course, local, but without any support from the government agencies like JICA and the others is considered difficult.
Right. So yeah, that's actually the impression that I had, that JICA is always there to broker, to support, to give an extra incentive to create the deal. So
So what I can see as difficult for Japanese going directly into deal, the making the deal, is that structure of making a deal and some framework, the contract matter, the payment matter, and how do we see some risk in contract, the later on doings, actual business and operation are quite different. So the Japanese side, the mainly cannot, which is the company who cannot make the decision to go ahead, is the Japanese in terms of the risk analysis. And so the Japanese wants everything to be clear,
Right.
to make any step forward.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the point.
You mean you said every kind of business deal based upon Japanese standard or norm or Japanese custom way of business, right?
Yeah, and also Japanese company wants to scrutinize the business plan, how detailed it's been prepared, even in the future and forecast. So if they would see any points not clear, then they will see it. They will doubt it.
So actually, that is kind of different than what I see inside Japan. Because inside Japan, a lot of things are often not clear at all, and not determined. But yet we proceed with all kinds of work and contract and projects without actually having the contract ready or having a decent contract.
But yeah, okay. So I think why they have to actually is the point that the way they're doing in Japan is different from what they have to do in, for example, some country outside Japan.
Right.
So this is a point. What makes them so consultative?
So I know if you do business with people other than Japanese, they become scared. What?
What?
Right. So
Why?
differences like for them the risk.
Right. So once you're doing business with foreigners, it becomes the risk increases dramatically. Therefore, they need to have everything specified before they can proceed.
Yeah. So in other words, what they can feel comfortable in doing some negotiation overseas is like the counterpart is willing to follow 100% the same as the Japanese way.
Right.
Then, yeah.
So じゃないと there is no deal.
No.
I see. Getting very warm. So there, it's actually very risk averse. So that should be a good motivation to negotiate, right?
Which but good.
Well, it's not really negotiation. It's more following the risk hedging. So if you are if Japanese business is trying to broker a deal in Vietnam, they will look for a partner who's going to follow their conditions to the letter. So it's not really negotiation. It's just having a business partner who is prepared to say yes. Otherwise, we cannot proceed. The risk is too high.
You're melting?
Yeah.